Hi guys, it's Pete from MyJewelryBench.com. Today we are going to be covering part 2 of our 3-part series for this 5 stone diamond pendant. In part 1 we cover the design work for the pendant. Part 2 covers the 3D printing, supports, and burnout schedules for the castable resins we use. And in part 3 we will be finishing up the casting, setting the stones, and my final thoughts of the whole process. Patreon supporters gets part 2 and 3 early, and I want to thank all of those of you who help support me on Patreon. It is very greatly appreciated. Just a reminder, if this video is a bit too fast for you, don't forget that you can slow it down in the YouTube player to help follow along. Okay, let's get started. Okay guys, now we're going to move into the next stage, which is to take our model, which we've already done. We've modeled it the way we want, and we are actually going to take this, we are going to save it out as an STL file or a wavefront file, and then we're going to bring it into the Sheet 2 box slicer. Once we get it in the slicer, we'll set up our parameters for the printer we are using, and then we will go ahead and 3D print this in some castable resin. So let's get going on this. Okay, I've got my object selected on the screen. This is my Blender file, and what I want to do is I want to take this object and I want to save this out or export it. And I'm going to export it first as a wavefront object. So here's the name of my object. It is a pendant.obj. I'm going to make sure that I have selection only here turned on, and then I'm going to hit the export button. Once I do that, it will take the exact model and convert it into a wavefront object. Just to be safe, I'm also going to take this object and I'm going to export it as an STL. So I'm going to come down to Export, come down to STL here. We are going to select pendant.stl with the selection only turned on, and then press Export STL. And now that's done. Okay guys, so I've got Sheet 2 box up and running, and the thing I want to do now is bring in my model, and I'm going to do this pretty simply. I'm just going to go and open my model up. We're going to grab the wavefront object or the object file, and I'm going to import that. Should bring it in just like so, and now I want to rotate this so it's flat. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to select, I believe it's 90, and by rotating that 90 degrees I got a nice flat surface or a nice flat pendant on my print bed. Now I'm going to select that and I'm going to come over to my supports, and I only need medium supports on this, so I'm going to select medium. I'm going to come over here to platform is added, and I'm going to hit all, and that will add in some supports to the bottom of my model. Looks pretty good. I don't need all these supports under the rings, so there's a couple of them I'm going to remove. We'll get rid of that one. We'll get rid of that one. Hit the delete key. And I'm just going to come over and add in a couple along the perimeter of the bottom of my pendant, just so that I know that it's going to hold up good. Making sure not to touch any of the edges along the sides of the pendant. It's probably a little overkill on supports, but just to make sure that it prints well, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now that that's done, my supports are added, let's get this sliced up. But the first thing I want to do, because just in case I'm going to print 4 of these, I'm going to duplicate this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And now I've got 4 pendants that I can print. And I will make sure with my settings for my Frozen Sonic MIDI that I've got the frozen castable resin, which I do. And let's come over to our printer settings. I want to print this in a little bit of detail, so I'm going to do 0.03, 03, and now I have a 6 bottom count layer at 25 seconds per layer. Each layer at 0.03 millimeters will be for 4 seconds. Keep in mind, the thicker this value is, or the bigger this value is, the longer layer exposure time you should have. So for instance, if I drop this up, if I bring this up to 0.05 millimeters, which would be a thicker layer height, then I'd want like maybe a 6 or 8 second cure time here. So keep that in mind. If I drop this down to 0.025, I could stick with maybe 3.5 to 4 seconds. 4 seconds always seems to work with me, so I stick with that and these values. I will make sure my anti-aliasing is turned on. That gives me a little bit of smoothness. We'll shut down those settings. Now our model is selected, and let's hit the slice button. There's our model, and we can see the slicing. You can see it's going to take approximately 30 minutes to print. And if I just go through here, I can just kind of make sure that the model prints good, and I can look at every layer. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Let's save this to our memory stick and let's go print it. I'll hit the save button. We'll come over to our frozen mini stick, and then I'm going to call this 4 pendants. And we will hit save. Okay, there we go. Now I can eject that little sand disk and go print this out. So let's set up over by the printer and let's get working on that. Okay guys, so I'm going to get my Sonic Mini up and running, and what I've done so far is I've taken care of the sand disk. I put the memory stick in the printer, and I'm just going to throw on a glove so that I don't have to get resin on my hand. Okay, so I got my glove on. I'm going to take the cover off my printer and put that aside, and now I'm going to take my build plate off. And if you haven't used one of these Sonic Minis, they're actually pretty good. The monochrome printer prints fantastic, and it prints fast. It has an aluminum vat it came with, which was a good thing. What I like to do is I like to take a little bit of Rain-X, and then I will spray that into the vat. I will take a microfiber towel and just kind of rub it around so that it's still wet inside. And I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. While that's sitting, I also take my frozen castable resin and I will shake this up just a little bit. I use this every day, so it never really settles too much. Put my Rain-X aside. Check my build plate. Build plate looks pretty good. It's clean. It's slightly scuffed. I use a sanding block to take my pad, and I just lightly scuff these up with the castable resins. And the reason I do that is because the castable resin needs something really firm to sit on. Once that's done, I'll just wipe it down. Okay, now that's done. I'll put that back onto the printer, and then we'll tighten up our build plate knob. Now that I've got my vat set for a while, I'm going to wipe off the excess Rain-X that was in the vat. Make sure it's nice and smooth. We'll check our screen and make sure that's clean. If it's not, I also like to use a little bit of glass cleaner on that. So I typically take the microfiber towel, spray a little bit of glass cleaner on that, and then I will clean off my display. With that done, I'll just use the other side and just dry a little bit. And then I'll take my vat and put that onto the printer. And then we'll take our 2 locking nuts and lock down our vat. That's there. The vat's all set. Now I'll open up my resin. And this is not a big print, so I don't need a lot of resin, which is like why I like the smaller printers. And I'm just going to pour the resin in there just a little bit. About like so. And that's done. I'll grab a paper towel and just wipe off the excess that's on the bottle. And then we'll throw that away. Cover up the resin. And we'll turn the printer on. Okay, our printer's on and it's ready to print. I'm going to hit the print button. I'm going to select our model, which is 4 pendants right here. I'm going to bring that up. You'll see it shows the 4 pendants, and then you hit the go button and the printer starts to work. Now the way I have it all set up, that's pretty much all I have to do with my frozen Sonic Mini, except for one final thing, and that's to put the cover on. And I typically do that before that build plate hits the bottom. I'm going to do a review of this printer. It's really worked fantastic for me. As far as jewelry making goes, it's great because I tend to print 1 or 2 items, maybe 3, and I don't need like a 10-inch build plate, although I would like to have one of those printers someday, but it's a lot of resin to have in the vat, and I like these small vats. Okay, so it's been 31 minutes and we are done printing, so let's just check and see if our model's printed. I'm going to pull the cover out here, and I'm going to take some pictures. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look. Looks like the Sonic Mini printed 4 pendants perfectly. And now we're just going to clean them up, and I'm going to get them all soaked up in some isopropyl alcohol, and then I'm going to throw them in the ultrasonic cleaner just to finish cleaning them up. Okay, so the next step I take when I do a print is to take my isopropyl alcohol and I stick it in a bucket. So I'm just going to pour it in here. Put that aside. I'm going to use a plastic scraper. I use a plastic scraper just because it's easier. Now, let me just grab my garbage pail here. I'll take my build plate off. And then there's my prints. So the next thing I want to do is just scrape my prints off and get them into the isopropyl alcohol. And I'm going to be careful, try not to do any damage to those. And that's that. I'm going to stir those around. I let them typically soak for about 3-4 minutes. And while that's soaking there, I'm just going to go ahead and clean off. So guys, this is the point where I usually take the time once everything's soaking, and then I stick it in the ultrasonic cleaner that I like to just clean down my whole printer and get everything done. So that's the process I'm going to follow here, and I'm not going to bore you with any video of me cleaning off my printer. However, if you guys do want to see a video of how to clean and maintain your printer, I will gladly do one. Just leave a comment in the comment section below. That actually looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get this in focus a little bit more. So what do you think? I think that looks pretty good. Now, I'm not going to cure these right now. I'm going to throw them in the ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm going to let the cleaner just take off the rest of the resin that might be stuck to these. Okay guys, so there's my prints. They look pretty good. Just going to dry them with the towel. Be careful not to put a lot of pressure on them. And this can be a good time to start separating the print from the supports. So if you can, just gently peel. See how well they come off. And once I've got that peeled apart, you can see there's my pendant. If I can get that in camera. Oops. And that's what the pendant looks like after it's been cleaned in an ultrasonic bath and some isopropyl alcohol. Now it's time to take this model and we'll put it under the UV cure light and we'll let that cure for about 5 minutes. Okay guys, so I've 3D printed our pendants. I made 4 of them, and now what we have to do is get them cast up. And what we want to do here, because I don't actually do my own casting, I don't have the facilities for it, but I do go to a friend of mine who does my casting. He's going to use, obviously, jeweler's investment, and he will put sprues on these and put these in the investment, and then it has to be burned out so that the gold can be melted and poured into the investment to make these particular pendants. Obviously, if you're in the jewelry business, you know how that works. If you're not, that's pretty much how it works, with a lot fewer details. So what I want to do is I want to bring up the chart here. Where is it? It's right here. And if we look at this, I want to see if I can make this a little larger. Let's just make this 150%. Okay, so here is a standard burnout for wax models. So when, jewelers will typically carve a piece out of wax, and then they will put it into an investment, allow the investment to cure, and then put it into a programmable furnace for burnout. And this would be the burnout schedule for wax investments. With the frozen castable resin, and that's what I use to print here, you can see that we start out at 0 degrees on the standard wax, and by 3 hours you're at 200 degrees, which you ramp up gradually. And after 3 hours, you're going to gradually ramp up to 725 degrees, where you'll stay until the 10th hour or 11th hour, and then you'll slowly bring that down to allow the investment to cool down and burn off any any residue that's remaining in the vat. Excuse me. However, with castable resins, you have to be a little more careful. So Here, what we're going to do is we're going to program the furnace to ramp up from 0 to 300 degrees over the course of 60 minutes. And over the next 8 hours, it will stay at 300 degrees. And that allows the resin to slowly melt itself away. If you bring the temperature up on resin too high, or anything over 310 degrees, it will start to burn. The wax in the resin will melt, and the resin itself will also melt with the wax. However, as you get into higher temperatures, the wax does melt, but the resin itself will burn and boil and bubble, and it could cause a problem with your casting, in which it could crack, leave bubbles or pits, or actually destroy the interior open section of the casting. Once you get to the 9th hour, then you'll bring it up, because by that point all the resin has been melted and burned away. From the 9th hour to the 12th hour, you're going to bring that up to 750 degrees, and you're going to let it sit there for a couple hours and then gradually bring it down and then let it cool. So that's the difference in this particular resin. This is the frozen resin, and then I use the iFun castable resin, which is a little bit more like regular resin. So the iFun castable or fun to do resins, these will burn out somewhat similar to normal resins. However, you see here, if we look at this particular model, we're at a higher temperature for a longer period of time. We've allowed it to gradually build up and burn out. There's more wax content than resin in the iFun. Just like with waxes, you'll gradually bring it up to full temperature and let it set. We let it set for 2.5 hours here on the wax and 5 hours on the iFun, or the fun to do resin. So keep that in mind when you're going to have castings done, or if you're going to do your own casting, because that's important. The schedule for burnout is very, very important. Now, I will say that the frozen castable resin does seem to burn out very, very cleanly. You will occasionally get some errors in the model, but it's really not that bad. I think the fun to do or iFun castable resin gives me a little bit poorer model, but it could be because my friend who does my castings is not following the perfect schedule on his programmable furnace. So keep that in mind. So those are my tips for that. So with that said, guys, I'm going to send this piece off to casting, and we are going to make sure that it gets casted in yellow gold, and then I'm going to put in the diamonds for this. Now these are going to be approximately 3 millimeters each, so it should be 10 points each, or a ½ carat total weight on the pendant. So when the piece comes back, I will go through the gold piece, we'll show you what it looks like, we'll fix any anomalies that happen in casting, and file, polish it, and get it ready for stone setting. And I will also finish part 3 by setting the stones, cleaning the final piece, and we'll check it out then. I hope you liked this part. This was part 2 of a 3-part series. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you know anybody who's interested in this kind of thing, please share it with them. And if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to my channel, as I do post 1 or 2 videos a week, all related to watches, jewelry designing, and 3D printing. If you want to get notified every time I put up a new video, hit that little subscriber bell, and you'll get a notification when I upload my next video. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day, and stay tuned for part 3.